Season 1 Reloaded for Modern Warfare 2 had many big features that they didn't put on the roadmap. They added grindable perks into DMZ. They added a new Plea feature that's going to completely change the way the game's played. And there was a ton of other changes. They nerfed the riot shield in the weirdest way possible. And if you didn't already grind gold on it, good luck getting the riot shield done now. As always, we're going to go through all these changes in a rapid style video. That way you can quickly watch this video and get right back into game. If you're new here and want to sub, I would greatly appreciate it. We're going to keep you fully up to date with anything happening in Modern Warfare 2, whether it be Warzone 2, DMZ, or Modern Warfare 2, you know, the 6v6 modes. If you love to like or comment, I appreciate you a ton. And with that, let's roll right in. The first big in-game change you're going to notice is the weapon XP improvements. They've actually improved quite a few different things about it. One, there's a brand new menu for it, and it does move around depending on what different menu you're on. And with this, if we go ahead and activate this, let's activate 15 minutes of XP token. You can actually see it counting down right here. So now we've got 14 minutes and this is slowly going to count down. Yes, it does count down in the menu, but at least you can actually see it in game now. Now with this, they actually went a step farther and added a new feature we haven't seen in other CODs. You can actually see it count down in game and you can activate tokens. Let's say in the middle of the game, you're about to complete a contract and you want to activate 30 minutes of double XP. Boom, there we go, 30 minutes of double XP equipped, and that's going to add on to our time. Now we've got 42 minutes. This is going to be great to activate right before you complete a contract, any of that stuff, and it makes 15-minute double XP tokens way more useful. And XP tokens can no longer be accidentally activated during double XP events. So you could activate double XP tokens during a double XP event and it wouldn't stack. It would just pretty much waste the token. That can no longer be done. They also updated the social tab, and in my opinion, this is so much better. It's so much more condensed and you can easily see your friends. You can also search. If you wanted to invite a certain friend, you can just search for the name, invite them. The groups tab is also in the game now. I did make a group. It is called Unlock. So if you want to join it, there's a ton of open slots. You can easily join it. That way you can join on me when we're doing live streams and other stuff. They made the bundle previews way better. If you go to preview a blueprint now, it's a 3D menu. You're able to move the weapon around, see what it looks like in different lighting. Prior to this update, it was just a flat image and you weren't able to move it. So if you're someone who looks at a lot of bundles, you can actually get a way better view of what the skin looks like before you purchase it now. The voice settings in game got a lot more options. Now when you pull it up, there's going to be a menu. You can mute all, this match only. You can toggle that on and off. You can also choose your game voice channel. If you want to hear the lobby, party only, you can do that. Open it again. We can go to friends only, or we can do friends and channels. DMZ got a massive new feature that I'm really surprised wasn't on the roadmap. You can actually unlock and use different perks in the DMZ mode. If you go to the weapons tab, you're going to see this new menu, current exfil streak. With this, what you have to do is go into game, complete a contract and exfil. If you do that, you're going to unlock a perk. And as long as you keep doing that, you're going to get more. So if you go into another game, you complete a contract in exfil, you're going to get another perk. Do it again, you're going to get third, fourth, all the way up to 10. The catch being, as soon as you go into game and you die and you're not able to exfil, you're going to lose all and you're going to go back to 0. These continuously build up, but you can lose all of them by just not successfully exfilling, which is really going to suck if you crash. You can go all the way up to 10 different perks. The 10 different perks you can get are Quick Fix, Spotter, Ghost, Focused, Fast Hands, Cold-Blooded, Bomb Squad, Double Time, Scavenger, and Strong Arm. Some of these are going to be extremely powerful in the DMZ mode, and I'm really glad they added this because, dude, Fast Hands, love to see that. Same thing, Quick Fix, also going to be another amazing perk here. They also added a new icon to the Create-a-class menu to tell you whether or not an attachment can be tuned. If you see this icon right here, it means yes, this attachment can be tuned. However, any attachment that doesn't have that icon is not a tunable attachment. They also added a new unlock icon for weapon blueprints. If you see this little green square, it means you got a new blueprint in that category. Other quality of life features include players who join a game in progress will no longer get a loss if their team loses the match. Prior to this update, it said it was doing this, but that wasn't true. If you joined a game in progress and you lost, it would still count for a loss in your combat record. That has now been fixed. Finishing moves now count towards the 30 kills in third person daily challenge in Spec Ops. Sticker book challenges in the after action report screen now say calling card challenge instead. Operator bios are no longer cut off part halfway through. Definitely make sure you go to the store tab in game and scroll down because there's currently some free bundles in the game. Who knows how long these are going to stay in the game, and I think they're going to be adding more of these gift packs as the holiday season goes on. So this right here is a charm. It's a pretty simple item, but still definitely worth getting for free. They added the ability to save weapon blueprints. I have no idea why they didn't announce this because this is a huge feature, but if you go to the gunsmith, you'll see down here at the bottom left, save custom mod. We can type whatever we want want, save weapon. Okay, of course, text. Okay, I'm not sure how that was prohibited. There we go. So now if we go to any other class or any other mode, let's say, you know, I wanted to go to Warzone. So now that we've loaded into Warzone, if we go here, we go to that same exact LMG, you can see that I now have a custom version of it. Not only did it keep the attachments I had on it, I think it did keep the tuning. That's kind of important. So yes, it does look like it keeps the tuning, but if you go to change it, it's going to reset all of the different attachments back to default, which is kind of actually, no, it didn't. It looks like it said it was going to change them all back to default, but they're still exactly where I had them tuned. Also, it keeps your camo, your charm, your decal, and your sticker. This is a huge feature. I really wish we had this at launch, but I'm just so glad we have this now. And I'm glad it carries between modes. So now I can use this in DMZ. I can use this in any mode once I've saved it. Players will no longer see a black screen on some platforms when trying to purchase COD points. Various issues with weapon and attachment unlock and progression have been addressed, including stats displayed, added toggle versus hold for ping wheel. Now let's go over the weapon balancing changes for this update. The Akimbo P890, the X12, the Magnum, and the Deagle have received a damage reduction against armored opponents. Fix an issue causing shotguns to inconsistently display the broken armor hit marker. Assault rifles, the MX9, increased movement speed, ADS speed, and sprint to fire speed on the 32 round magazine. The M13B, there was an issue when using this barrel that it'll allow you to use the launcher and the shotgun. It shouldn't have been doing that. The Cast-Off 7.4U, small reduction to close damage. 3 hit kills requires at least 1 chest shot now. The Cast-Off 5.4.5, increased muzzle velocity, small decrease to hip fire spread, increased close damage, increase to chest damage multiplier. SMGs, the Veil 47, reduce hip spread, increased movement speed, increased far damage. Then we have the pistols, starting off with the Magnum. Essentially all they did was change different attachment compatibility. Different attachments are now going to be usable with other attachments, whereas some have now been blocked. Moving on to the Deagle, reduced hip fire spread, increased 1-hit headshot range, increased damage range, increased neck and upper shoulder location damage multipliers, increased bullet velocity, increased damage range on different barrels here. This is a pretty big buff to the 50 cal. I am excited to use that now. Shotguns can no longer kill fully armored players in one shot. So prior to this update, there could be a 3-tiered fully armored enemy, and if you built your shotgun correctly, you could take him down in one shot. After this update, that can't happen. The Expedite 12 shotgun added guard category, so essentially now there's 3 different attachments you can put on it. Melee, this is one of the most controversial changes of these entire patch notes. Yeah, they nerfed the riot shield, but not in the way you'd expect. Riot shield, reduced movement speed, reduced melee damage to 3-hit kill, and yes, if you go in tier 1, it is now a 2-hit kill. It takes 2 hits in tier 1 to take down an enemy, and if you're playing core on any map, so if you're playing shipment now, it's going to take 3 hits with the riot shield. That's the first time we've ever seen that in COD. Shield movement animation improvement, longer switch time pulling out throwing knife when riot shield is equipped. I'm not sure why all this got nerfed. My biggest issue with the riot shield is that it blocks bullets on your back. I don't think they needed to go through all this. If you haven't got the riot shield gold, platinum, or polyatomic, it is going to be a lot harder now. Launchers, jokers, missiles no longer land out of bounds when targeted on a wall edge of the map. Improve the thermal reability when aiming in. So the joker glitch where you could essentially have it just immediately shoot when you picked it up, that no longer works after this. We've also got some pretty interesting vehicle updates. Reduce collision damage taken by the heavy chopper, especially from landing. Increase health and damage resistance of the UTV. Increased falling damage to the ATV and UTV. Added custom turret rotation speed for the APC light tank and heavy tank. Increased damage done by AI to both LTV versions. That's going to be kind of annoying in DMZ. Reduced distance that boats can be piloted when completely out of water. This was hilarious in DMZ. If you had a bunch of momentum, you could take a boat and you could ramp it pretty far on land. Adjusted vehicle exits to limit the chances of not being able to exit when on steep slope. Players will no longer get the out of bounds countdown when taking vehicle from enemies restricted area in ground war and driving out of the zone. Fixed an issue where player would continue to see countdown if they got in a vehicle just outside of the zone. Added dynamic crosshair for tank. Then we've got some visibility changes that are very interesting. Ally nameplates disappear when an enemy is in direct path of the ally to prevent mistaking enemies for allies. This was a huge issue. So many times I would see enemies and I would think they're teammates because it has the little green dot above it, even though it's just my enemy behind them. Now that's not going to happen. The ally nameplate's going to disappear in those scenarios. In tier 1 mode, this change only applies to allies behind Geo. Allies with line of sight will always show nameplates to prevent friendly fire. So they've also taken an additional step for tier 1 to prevent accidental team killing in that mode. We've also got kill streak updates. A lot of these are pretty basic and honestly just bug fixes, so we're going to skip through a lot of them. I found this one interesting. Fix an issue that allowed players to spawn on a position where a care package is occupying, resulting in an immediate death. So you could spawn where a care package was and just die right away. Also, there was a change to the Juggernaut. Fix an issue where Juggernaut sometimes died to a single throwing knife in tier 1. That's also been fixed. Also, an exploit that allowed sentry guns to be placed under the map in certain locations. That's also been fixed. The rest of these just small bug fixes. Field upgrades. Portable radar. Portable radars can now stick to vehicles. That's really cool. Equipment. Radiation blocker. Once again, just a bunch of different bugs with that, and thermite grenades as well. This next change is really important to pay attention to. Tuning. Most beneficial tuning value magnitudes have been increased. Some harmful tuning value magnitudes have been decreased. So they changed some of the tuning values for weapons. So the classes you've made with different tuning values might not be the best way to tune it now. So you want to go back into the classes you've made and kind of adjust the values a little bit more and see if you can find a better build. Some of them, the most beneficial tuning might have been increased a little bit. So you might be able to take it a little bit farther than what you did before and get it even better. Same thing, some of the harmful stuff have also been nerfed as well. So you might be able to fine tune it a little bit better. So you want to make sure your build that you have for your weapon is still the best build. Then we've got updates to some of the optics. A lot of this is just bug fixes and not important whatsoever. Then we've got some weapon customization fixes. Once again, nothing too notable here. You guys have already seen this, but the LA Thief skin has been nerfed. This is what it looks like in game now. It is super noticeable. You'll tell right away when someone's running this. It is no longer OP. You can't hide in dark areas. They went from, like, you know, super hidden with this skin to extremely noticeable. This is one of the more easy to see skins now. They also updated the CDL skin for the New York subliners. The rest of this is just small bug fixes. The only thing really notable in here is that Shoothouse is once again back in private matches. About a month ago, Shoothouse just completely disappeared from private matches, but it is selectable once again. Same thing, there's a lot of spec op bug fixes, nothing super notable, and then they're just talking about how the CDL mosh pit is in the game. Moving on to Warzone Battle Royale changes. Increased number of active strongholds to 5, up from 3. So now there's not going to be 3 strongholds per game, there's going to be 5. They have nerfed the bots. Damage per bullet reduced by 26% for the bots, so they're going to be doing less damage to you. Number of units per site reduced by 50%. So now there's going to be even less bots, and they're going to be doing less damage on top of that. Farther reductions based on squad sizes, so it depends on how many squads you have with you. AI combatants and reinforcements. Double time between waves, so it's going to take them longer to spawn in. Number of units per wave reduced by 30%, so when they do spawn in more, there's going to be less of them. Black site. AI combatants now have additional armor, so in the black site, they're actually going to be a little bit stronger. They're going to have more armor. Rewards and an upgraded version of the Stronghold UAV, which will sweep twice as far and about 30% faster. So when the black site, when you take it over now and get that UAV, it's going to sweep twice as far and 30% faster. That's a pretty big buff to the black site. The bots are going to be a little bit stronger, but the rewards you get are also going to be better on top of that. Moving on to DMZ adjustments. Cash value. General changes to valuable items. Changes to cash rewards for contracts. Container spawn rates. Increase self-revives, gas masks, and field upgrades in first aid kits. So now there's going to be more self-revives and gas masks and first aid kits. So they're definitely going to be worth checking out. Self-revives are huge in this mode. Increased plate carriers, backpacks, and field upgrade in weapon stashes. So you want to be checking those out. Decreased electronic components in computer towers. There was tons of those. Decreased toothpaste in medical cabinets. Yeah, I'd way rather have the self-revives than the toothpaste in those. Decreased number of items found in black markets, which kind of sucks, meaning in the black markets, there's going to be less things inside of them now. Plea for help. This is a massive DMZ change. No joke, this is probably going to change the flow of every match going forward. Eliminated players are now able to request help from enemy players, resulting in them joining the enemy squad as a new member. So if you're playing solo and you die out, or you're playing in a squad of 3 and your entire squad gets wiped, you can actually give a plea for help to the enemy team, and they can be like, oh yeah, actually we'll accept it, and then they can revive you. This means when you completely die, it's not over yet. There's always a chance you could get accepted by another team get revived, and get back into the match. This also means you're going to see a lot more teams of 6. Prior to this update, I didn't see any teams of 4, 5, and 6. I think I only saw one in my many hours played. Since this update, I have already seen multiple teams of 6. What's happening is enemies are taking out other enemies, wiping them, and then after they take them out, they send a plea for help, and since they're no longer a threat anymore, they accept it to get that higher party size, to be able to do more contracts, get more XP, and have a higher survivability rate. And yeah, because of this, there's going to be teams of 6 all over in DMZ. So if you're a solo player, you really want to try to find another squad, because going up on a 1v6 is going to be nearly impossible. I do like this feature. Just keep in mind while playing now, after you see 3 enemies and wipe 3 enemies, there's a high chance there could be a 4th, 5th, or 6th player waiting around the corner now. In DMZ, they've also updated some of the faction missions to make them a little bit easier to read and know what you're doing with them. They've nerfed the bomb drone in Warzone, so if you're on the outer edge of it with 3 plates, it shouldn't down you every time. Out of bounds, time allowed outside of the playable area has been increased to 10 seconds. They've made some changes to dropping weapons. When you drop a weapon, your reserve ammo should also drop to the ground as well. Ground loot, we've made improvements to ground loot priority so that interacting with desired items is easier. Buy stations, item purchased via buy stations will spread around, so they're not going to be stacked and they're going to be easier to loot. Gulag elimination alert, a sound will play to notify a squad when a member in the gulag has eliminated an opponent or been eliminated. Combat record, unfortunately the Warzone combat record that they said was going to be in this update was not ready in time, so there is still not going to be a combat record, and we still don't know if whenever this gets added, if it's going to be tracking. From what they said, it doesn't sound like anything that's happening right now is being tracked at all in the combat record. So all of your wins, all of your kills won't be tracked until the combat record's added in. Then they also said with this that leaderboards are also going to be coming whenever combat records come as well, but who knows when we're going to get combat records and who knows when we're going to get leaderboards. Then finally, we have the biggest list of bug fixes I have ever seen. Look at this. These are all just different bug fixes, and it just keeps going, and we keep going, and it keeps scrolling, and it keeps scrolling. That was just general ones. Then we have DMZ ones. Look at that. There's so many things in here that people have been having issues with, especially for DMZ. A lot of the faction issues that weren't working correctly have been fixed. A lot of the glitches have been fixed. Same thing, Hunt Squad. If you activated one and then the enemy team was exfil, you would still get the reward for that. That's no longer the case. A lot of the different, weapons research mission is now tracking properly. They've also fixed it where some of the loot would despawn after 3 minutes. They didn't list it here, but a lot of the DMZ glitches have also been fixed. The duplication glitch was fixed. The infinite self-revive glitch was fixed in that. Also, the one that allowed you to get in locked spaces by ramming a teammate into a door, that was fixed. The decoy method of getting into lock areas was also fixed in DMZ. There's also quite a few hidden changes in DMZ I've seen as well, not listed on this. Mainly some of the spawn points have changed. Some of the loot has changed. The airport was completely nerfed. A lot of those golden chests underneath no longer spawn there. There's also a lot of other golden loot locations that just completely are no longer in the game after this, which is kind of unfortunate. They didn't list those in here, but those were changes that happened. I'm not going to read through all of these, mainly because this would add an extra 10 minutes onto the video. I will leave this entire blog post linked below if you want to read through it, but a lot of it just isn't worth reading through. They're very simple stuff. And if there's a specific issue you had, you're honestly better off just going in game and testing it instead of reading through all of this. There's so many different stuff going on with this. But with that, boys, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this video here. If you want any sort of updates going on with Modern Warfare 2, whether it be for the multiplayer, Warzone, or DMZ, this is the channel to find it. We're going to bring it into an easy to read, easy to digest, and a really quick format on this channel. Same thing, tons of guides, tons of other stuff being here. So make sure to sub if you want to see that. If you love to like or comment, I appreciate you a ton. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.